to speak to the point of being proactive, here would be your trusted individuals to be able to reach out to so you don't wait 6 months, a year. Sometimes I see people 10 years, 15 years after birth
Yeah.
with bladder leakage, for instance, because they thought it was normal. They thought it would maybe go away. There wasn't time. They prioritized baby, didn't prioritize themselves. And so it might be 10 years before, they put themselves forward to really try and take care of some things.
And it really does connect when I'm working with someone who they get being proactive in a professional space.
Yeah.
Maybe they also manage a lot of the things in the household, right? So they understand and value that idea of being strategic and proactive. They just really have not encountered um, that approach to motherhood. And
Yeah.
once they see, like, gosh, I can take those strengths and apply them differently, but I can't apply them in motherhood, there's this huge like relief that comes over. I'm like, oh, okay. I just need to get the plan in place. I need to do the things that for myself as a unique individual that will make me feel really healthy and supported and fulfilled. And that's why, especially with coaching, it's a shorter term support system that I provide. It's high touch, but shorter term because they're able to take their unique plan and implement and see the positive results really quickly, which
I
is
love that because you're using a strategy they're already good at. It's
yes.
just changing their perspective and realizing they can use the same strategy on themselves, right?
Absolutely.
Um, why do you think that so many women wait? And Denny, we talked a little bit about it, but why do you think they wait so long? It could be, I know we talked before, maybe 6 months, even 12 months before they realize, it's just not clicking. I think I need to find some professional guidance.
Yeah, I see it with so many of the women I work with, and I always am happy to share my own lived experience. I had done really, really hard things in my life. I was in the army. I was a paratrooper, combat veteran. I had led teams in healthcare, both in the nonprofit world as well as in hospitals. And so my threshold for what struggle was off, right? In terms of I was used to doing hard things, and so I was able to sustain a lot more pressure, a lot more I had a lot more of this history to pull on of like, oh, I can just white knuckle it through and I can get out on the other side of this and this will be great. And so if your scale or your measure of when you are struggling is off, then you don't notice it for quite some time. And most of the moms, especially in my past of being more therapy focused, most of the moms, they didn't even see it when they finally came in. It was a partner, it was a mom, it was a mother-in-law, it was a friend who said, "You're not doing okay. I really think that you could engage in support." Because their perspective for their own wellness, it's just, yeah, the measure is off. And in some ways, having that higher threshold has really served them in their life, right? When other people might say, I give up, they didn't, and they were able to achieve great things. But the downside of that is, yeah, they don't always see when they're in need of support.
So let's talk about that specifically a little bit. Like, what would be some really common signs? Because I think sometimes it might be hard. Certainly, it's hard to look inward. I think many people can relate to exactly what you said. We're just going to muscle through. I think women are tough for the most part, and we just try and keep doing, doing, doing until we fail, right? And then, so we don't want to go that far. If we want to try and really catch things earlier, what are some signs that people can kind of self-reflect on just to know confidently, yeah, maybe it is time to talk to someone. And talking to someone doesn't necessarily mean I need therapy for 2 years,
Yes.
just to like even just a check-in, I imagine is an option if you're just not sure.
For sure. Checking in is always an option, right? Just to have a sounding board. Say, okay, here's what you're experiencing here. Here are my thoughts as an expert. I love the word check-in too, because so often that early postpartum period in particular can feel chaotic if we haven't had a chance to make some kind of strategic preparations. And we put connecting with ourselves way, way, way on the back burner. We're all about baby, right? And we're all about caring for as women in particular, right? We're just very oriented. It's the comfort zone that can get really uncomfortable of being in service of others.
Hmm.
And so what I work with clients on doing is making sure that checking in with self is a part of your routine. Just like you would change baby's diaper when they need a diaper change, you're going to check in with yourself every morning because that's a necessity. It's not an extra, it's a necessity. And a part of that check-in is figuring out if there's signs. And the ones I point to first that are a little less gray are you taking care of your basic needs? Are you eating? And especially if you're nursing, are you eating enough?
Yes.
Are you drinking water? Are you resting enough? We know postpartum moms actually need a minimum of 5 continuous hours of sleep, despite kind of the pervasive myth that you can operate on zero. Uh,
Right.
they need that. And then are you able to move your body? Are you sitting in that nursing chair or are you cuddling baby because baby won't sleep otherwise all day and you're not able to even walk to your mailbox and back? Like, are you able to like use your body to include like routine things like going to the restroom or being able to feel like your body's actually healing? Or are you just kind of stagnant? Because we know with the mind body connection that if you feel like you are not meeting your basic survival needs, which I described, you cannot be well mentally, emotionally, and you certainly can't enjoy this period of life. And so often when I ask these very like basic questions of how much do you maybe eat in a day? Oh, well, if the baby doesn't need me, I can get in a PB&J. Love
Yeah.
a PB&J. That is not enough nutrition, right, for a new mom.
Right.
Or, yeah, I got 2 hours last night and I'm running on fumes. Okay, how many days have you been running on fumes? Sometimes moms will say a week, longer. We as human beings are not able, as much as high achievers in particular are susceptible to convincing ourselves we're able to operate on that, we're not. So I always go back to the greatest gift that we can give our babies is to care about our own wellness. Because not only are we going to show up so much more healthy and fulfilled and joyful in our interactions with them, but we're also from even those first days demonstrating to them our values, that they too, as they
Mm.
grow, that they have worthiness, that self-love is important, that caring for their basic needs should be a priority. And
What a great point. You just gave
yeah,
me.
that viewpoint, right? Our kids develop their sense of self-worth as well as their dreams from what we show them.
I love that because that was so simple, Priya. Just checking in with, are you eating? Are you drinking? Are you sleeping? Are you moving? I mean, that's, I think, what you said.
Yes, absolutely,
So
right?
it's simple, it's not complex. It's just you need to reflect on those and be honest with what the answers are. And if you're not doing those things, it's time to maybe have a check-in to see if you might benefit from a little bit of guidance.
And so often moms will share with me in like a kind of a check-in like that, a consult to say, but it's impossible, right? It's not possible for me to get more than those few hours. And I'll dig a little deeper. Tell me why you feel like it's impossible. Because I believe them that in their view, it's
Right.
impossible. But
Absolutely.
I'm sharing with you, this is what can get you to feel healthy. You're saying it's impossible to do that thing. And then we can get really in a great conversation about that strategic piece. Like who is your village? Like how are people supporting you? How are you willing to receive support? Okay, my partner says he'll take over, he'll do one of the feeds, but I'm supposed to,
Breastfeed.
exclusively breastfeed. He can't
Yes.
bottle
That's
feed.
a huge. I find that in my own, just for them to make time for I didn't mean to cut you off,
No, please
but
go ahead.
pelvic floor stuff, the breastfeeding will get in the way. And I will like lightly suggest there's such strong feelings about how you feed your baby for good reason. But I do think breastfeeding sometimes does get in the way of self-care sometimes with moms, because I think that's the only thing that can happen. And it might get in the way of them getting some help that would help them feel better.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard to really that identity with the identity shift of motherhood. It's hard to move into a season of really receiving and feeling like you're worthy of it and that you're not less than as a mother, as a person, if you accept. Because I do have a lot of wonderful partners out there who say, I want to be in it with you. I couldn't birth the baby for you, but I want to be in it with you. Um, but mom, yeah, mom feels like that in some way is a failure. And that does not have to be the case at all. Like we can accept all of this support, and really, it's more love for your baby. Which most times when I reframe it that way, moms are like, "Of course, I would like my baby to have a wonderful relationship with dad. They want that. Like, okay,
Mhm.
this is an
It's
opportunity for
the path that you
that
didn't see before.
and for you to get adequate sleep. But yeah, it continues to be really challenging because also for really high achieving, we like to have the best, and everything we're told is that this is the best. And I really have to help moms to see if you are struggling, if you are not check when you do those check-ins, you're not getting those basic needs met. It's not actually the best.